Whether you're new to Florida or whether you've been here for a while or your whole life, you know that June 1st starts hurricane season. Not trying to say that to scare everybody. I've been here my whole life. Hurricanes don't scare me. Now, we did have a couple of big ones that were very strange, but don't be scared. Just be prepared. That's kind of what we always say. Don't be scared. Be prepared. And when we talk about being prepared, some of the items and things you need to think about and what you need to do are review your homeowners and your flood insurance. And you want to do that before June 1st. The reason I'm saying it now, because we are about a week away, is if you haven't done it yet, you need to do it. Make sure you've got coverage on your homeowner's insurance and flood insurance for your pool cage. If you upgraded your pool cage this year, or maybe you added some other things to your home, or you did some changes to your home, you want to upgrade that. You want to make sure that if you did, a new roof last year or the year before after previous hurricanes, you want to make sure that your homeowner's insurance has that information, because those are things that are going to make a difference should you have to replace your roof again, or replace furniture that maybe you had bought off the patio that got torn up and you replaced it and now it's worth a little more. You want to make sure all of that is updated in your homeowner's insurance and your flood insurance policy. And also keep in mind that if there's a named storm out there now, you cannot bind or make changes to policies. So do it now, because if you do it later or try to, it might be too late, and too late is definitely not when you want to have issues with your insurance policies. In addition to things with your insurances that you're looking at and you want to make sure everything is buttoned up and tight, after a hurricane, sometimes if you had to file a claim, your insurance will go up. You need to keep in mind that could affect your escrows. You may have a shortage, so you want to make sure that if you have a hurricane in June or July or something like that, you file a claim, everything gets taken care of by September, October, November, whatever the case may be. You want to make sure that maybe if you get that call that your insurance went up, that you're ready, because that way you don't have to not escrow or not pay your deficiency. Maybe you don't want to roll it over. Maybe you've got the cash to take care of that. So make sure you review your escrows too, along with your insurance policies. Another item that you need to do is take digital copies and pictures and videos of your home inside and out. You want to make sure that if there's something that happens, your insurance company doesn't say, oh, that was already there, or something like that, because you don't want to have an issue with your roof and then them come back and say, oh, that was already there, or you don't have proof of it, or whatever. So take pictures of everything inside and outside of your home. Pictures, walk around video, whatever you need, because that does help the appraisers when they're comparing your current damage to what was at the house previously. A very important thing you need to remember is, if you have a mortgage on your home, you need to make sure you have the phone number of your mortgage disaster assistance area at your mortgage, because they are going to help you. Let's say you are hit with a big hurricane, kind of like when we got hit with Ian here in Fort Myers. We had a lot of businesses were shut down for a while. Some businesses didn't open up for a long time, so some people were out of work. If you have your mortgage servicer's disaster number, or even the servicer's number, you want to have it readily available, because should you need to maybe defer a payment or two, or maybe you need some help, they do have disaster protocols in set up so that they are able to help you. Don't put your head in the sand and think that, oh, I don't want to call my mortgage company if I can't make my payment because they're gonna foreclose or something. They don't want to foreclose. They want to help you, and they have, again, protocols set up for just exactly that, any disasters or anything like that. You want to make sure that you have all of your banking and information set up right now. If you don't have a savings account, make sure you have at least what is your deductible somewhere set aside. I know on flood or wind or anything like that, even if you don't have flood insurance and you aren't required to have flood insurance, your hurricane deductible is usually 2%. It's not $1,000. And believe me, I thought mine was $1,000 after Ian, and as it turned out, no, it was 2%. And I went, what? And they take that deductible right off the top. So if you need, your roof fixed or something like that, and it's going to cost $25,000, well, your deductible might be, $2,500, and you might not have enough money for that. And then you might not have enough money to pay the roofer. So make sure that whatever you think your deductible is, try and make sure you have that amount of money or a little more set aside for your deductibles, at least through hurricane season. A very important thing that you want to do is, of course, make sure you have all of your supplies ready. Make sure you have enough water, make sure you have enough dry goods. People always forget, and I hear stories a lot of times that people bought food, but then forgot that they can't keep it in their refrigerator. Your cooler's not going to keep it cold for very long. Those kind of things. You want to make sure that you're prepared. If you're going to buy a generator now. If you're, because if hurricane starts to hit, if you come and they say, okay, next 10 days we're going to be watching this hurricane, you're not going to be able to find a generator. And if you do, it's going to be the most expensive generator that you probably weren't planning on buying. So if you're going to get a generator, get it now. If you're going to, want water and all of that, get it now. If you are not going to put your shutters up, or you don't have shutters and you think you might be using plywood, now's a good time, because when the hurricane's coming, plywood's going to be scarce, and then again, it's going to cost you a fortune. So just remember, make sure you've got, if you need gas cans for your generator, make sure you've got the gas set up. Make sure you've got your food, your water. If you have pets, make sure you've got all of that. My dog is great. She doesn't get scared by any of that. She actually likes all of that, which is very strange. But if you have a dog that might have anxiety or something, you might want to go to your vet and get something that would be, like a Xanax for dogs. I don't know, but something like that. You want to make sure that everybody is set, your kids are set, make it a game for the kids. Make sure you've got games and puzzles and coloring books and, books to read, things that you can do by candlelight or lights or whatever if you have no electricity, because the last thing you want to do is scare everybody. So again, not scared, prepared. And the last thing I really want to make sure that we really drive home is, if you're going to evacuate, make sure you know your evacuation, routes. Make sure you know how you're going to get out of the state of Florida. And again, if you're going to evacuating the day before the hurricane is probably not what you want to do, or the day of, that's probably not, because you'll be sitting in a giant parking lot on I-75. So make sure that you know where you're going to go. Make sure that you know how to get there. Make sure if you're going to go to one of the shelters, that you make sure, if you have animals, that they're going to take your animals. Make sure you're going to do all of that. So just, again, make sure you know your evacuation routes and everywhere and where you're going to go. So again, the last thing I really want to drive home, scared, not scared, prepared. Not scared, prepared. It's not scary if you're prepared, and if your home is situated and ready, it should be able to withstand most of the damage. So, and keep you safe. So, if you have any questions on hurricane stuff or anything like that, or a mortgage, give me a call. Dawn Hall, Van Dyke Mortgage, 239-789-7561. Your lender for life.